Hello and welcome to this product review. These are Raptor Riders of the W'adrhŭn for the game Conquest, the Last Agrument of Kings by Parabellum Wargames. In this video I show you the sprues, tackle the assembly, give you some tips here and there for general assembly and especially for this kit, and will base those miniatures. These models are provided by Max, a Parabellum Vanguard from Münster, Germany, and I want to thank him to give me this set, and maybe this is a foray in becoming a Vanguard my own. So leave a like and a comment on this video to show Parabellum that you love this content. And now to the box. This is the lovely 3 miniatures box W'adrhŭn Raptor Riders. Nice artwork on the front and some painted assembled miniatures on the back with awesome color schemes. In the box there are 3 sprues, 2 big, 1 small sprue. There is a assembly manual. There is a bag with bases and 2 cards. The cards are the play-in card for the Raptor Riders in the game of Conquest Last Agrument of Kings with a QR code for the army builder, and the other card is for the living world cause Parabellum still expands on this universe. A bag of bases and movement trays, a assembly manual where you see the assembly for one of the Raptor Rider in this case, and those are the sprues. Lovely stuff, nice sculpts and good production value. We start on the right hand sprue. There on this sprue we see the feathers of the tails, we see some heads in several pieces, we see arms and a torso. On the center sprue we see another torso, leg in the upper left corner, and some parts for the riders, and the third sprue contains another torso, then some heads and most of the legs for the raptors. To assemble the miniatures we will go on a sub-assembly route. I will pick out the pieces that need to be assembled before we puzzle the modular set together. Let us start, for example, with a body. So I take myself some clippers and remove the parts from the sprue. With these clippers I need to go nearest to the miniature and remove those contact points, and for this set I will use the parts 20 and 21, because those are the parts that go together. Starting with a small dry fit and removing the excess plastic with a sharp knife. Small advice, don't cut yourself in the fingers. I don't get responsible if you hurt yourself. After cutting away these bigger chunks of plastic, you can scrape the blades across the surfaces to remove some mold lines. Another dry fit, and then we start with some plastic glue, in this case Revell Contactor Professional, a brand that my local hobby store provides. Put those pieces together, swipe across the line where the parts connect, and scrape across those lines again to remove this obvious gap. This is the step I take for all the parts before we go on with the assembly, and we get this potpourri of pieces. The arm pairs, legs, the tail feather and torso, heads, and the rider. We start with the raptors because the rider are a bit tricky to assemble in conjunction to the actual raptor itself and keeping up the dynamic. I start with the legs and dry fit some of those poses, and check how this would be assembled to the base. And if I got a pairing that's nice, I will apply plastic glue and put those legs into place. The next step for me in this case is fitting the heads and looking which one would fit to the leg position the most. And I take this long stretched out neck, and the same is like the tail feathers. You can mix and match those pieces as you like, and if you done so and glued everything together, you got those Final Fantasy chocobo looking like raptors. But we will assemble the arms next, so the chocobo look will be removed. Some dry fitting is needed, cause some of the arms cannot be glued in place with some of the angled legs. So highly advise dry fitting, take your time, and then apply plastic glue, put the pieces together, some pressure, some dry time, and assemble all the arms like this. Next step is the bases. And plain bases are good and well, but we want something special or a bit more special. And I take cork from the hardware store. Those are floor tiles, 3 millimeters in thickness. They are very good to do bases. I break away some parts, cut the corners a bit to give a bit of a angle to the base, dry fit it again, and then put down the cork plate stone thingy with some super glue onto the base, and add another breakaway part to give variation. Do this for all the bases, and of course don't cut yourself. I don't get responsible when you cut yourself with your sharp knife. Added some additional basing material like skulls on these bases, and drilled a hole through cork and base and into one of the raptor's foot, cause I want to pin those miniatures onto the bases to give it a more strong bond. In this case I've took some brass rods, 0.6 millimeters from AK, cut away a part and bend it over so that it get a bit more tension into the bond. Apply super glue, stick the pipe or brass rod in, dry fit again with the base, some more super glue on the foot, push it down onto the base, and it's fine. It will work, it will hold on, and everything works out very nice. On the last raptor, you'll see that the brass rod sticks out very far from the foot. This is an option you can choose here. You can stick it through and then bend over the excess part down there to give it a better bond if you prefer. Next up, the riders. Now is the part to give the riders their shape, and I take my time to fiddle with which pieces would which body look the best, cause it's a matter of dynamic. The raptors are very dynamic miniatures, and the rider could ruin the effect, so take your time, dry fit all the pieces, get the feeling for the dynamic of the raptor and the rider, and everything is cool. I start with the leader of the pack, put the legs on the raptor. Would it fit? Yes, maybe. And then dry fit the pieces that I like the most. You can match the wrist armor, or you can totally mix and match every piece as you like. This is just a case of your preferred visuals. Glue the pieces in place and repeat the step for the other riders. And we are ready to base those miniatures proper, cause only the cork and the blank plastic doesn't look that good, does it? So for this I grab myself some paper towel, a small palette, apply some white glue and will apply some sand. Yes, just regular sand. There are several grain strengths in my pot. There is something like really small stones, rough grit and a really fine sand like for bird cages and stuff like this. You see it here, and this is my method to base most of my miniatures. Apply some white glue on the base. Try not to put it onto details like the skulls or the raptor itself, but don't get worried if it happened, because you can wipe the excess away later. Apply some of the bigger stones first, the rough grit, and then the fine sand. Wipe away the excess on the base trim. Get rid of some of the sand that sticks to the skull. And here we got the finished models. Everything based, everything dried. Nice, lovely kit. The only thing is the aesthetic of the rider without a saddle. This is just a question of personal preference. I would like them to have something like a saddle or a riding cloth or something like this. But overall, those are lovely models and I like to paint them in the next video. Thank you to Max for providing these models. Thank you to Parabellum Wargames, and we see us in the next one. Keep on wargaming!